The following show is brought to you by Fanbags Cornhole, Chicago's official supplier of professional cornhole boards and bags. Choose from any of their officially licensed designs or have my boy Brian design a custom set using anything from a selfie to your company's logo. Visit www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off your entire order. That's www.fanbagscornhole.com and use promo code BRAGS for 10% off. Step up your game with Fanbags Cornhole.
It's Zach Edey with Purdue men's basketball, and you're watching Boilers in the Stands.
Hello, welcome back to Boilers in the Stands. I am your host, Joe Jackson. Joining me is my co-host, Aidan Kunst. It's just going to be us two today. We got, Craig was actually at the game. He was at or beyond enemy lines in Wisconsin. And then Braggs is doing his thing down in Indy for the NFL Combine. Anybody that's into NFL and stuff, definitely go check out his stuff. He's been putting out some really, really fun stuff there. But Purdue wins 63-61, a nail biter, a game that, Wisconsin shoots well from three, Purdue doesn't. Wisconsin hits some tough ones, and that keeps them kind of in it for a large part. And then, just kind of back and forth. A typical game in Wisconsin last year it was the same thing, except for this time Purdue comes out on top, and we're just going to get right into it. It's going to be a little bit of a Twitter Spaces throwback with me and you just right here. Before we started really with Boilers in the Stands. So, Aidan, what are your instant reactions to the game?
Yeah, just a win they had to have, I think, for morale, just for where the team's at right now, and they got it. I think that they just needed to get out of Madison with the W. As Jeremy Armstrong says, never easy, right? It's never easy in Madison. It's never easy on the road in the Big Ten. And so to pull out a win, I think is good. I think there's definitely some concerns following this game that the shooting still hasn't come around and it just isn't going to come around. I don't think maybe they get hot, but they're just not really a good shooting team right now. You can't ask for better looks. Both from the free throw line and from the 3-point line. The turnovers were concerning early. A lot of the same things, but you know what? They rallied. They gave up the lead, and in other games this season, we've seen them give up that lead and then kind of spiral out of control, especially on the road. But this time they stuck together. They pulled it out. I thought their half-court defense was excellent, and got a win on the road.
Yeah, no, it's kind of the same thing as just doing what it needs to be done to win. Edey puts up a near 2020 game, 17-19, and we'll get into that. Loyer finally got going, and we're definitely going to get into that. And then, just enough from everybody else to kind of counter. Like you said, I thought Purdue's half-court defense for the most part was really, really good. Wisconsin hits some tough ones. Purdue allows some easy ones for sure. I'm not saying that Purdue's half-court defense was perfect, especially in the post splits that Wisconsin runs, and they just seem to run them to perfection every time. But just it's an overall good win. And I think at the end of the day, I know there's things to improve on. There's things that we're going to talk about and nitpick, and to improve on going into the tourneys. But a win is a win. Like flat out, it is within all this. And I guess it kind of happened before the game, even. But Purdue officially clinches outright Big Ten title if they lose to Illinois Saturday, they'll win it by 2 games. If they win, they will win the Big Ten by 3 games. And we talked about it more on our last show, so I don't think we really need to go into too much depth on that. But it's still a cool thing to see. A Purdue team that's going to win the Big Ten by 2 to 3 games. There's obviously been some struggles late, but still a team that's really, really good, potential 1 seed. I know UCLA is playing right now. I don't know the exact score, but definitely we'll keep an eye on that. So we'll get into it from here. Go to just some stats of the game. Bring those up right here. Aidan, or I'll read them off first, I guess. 63-61, Purdue, Wisconsin. Edey leads the way with 17-19, 7 of 9 shooting, but 3 of 8 from the free throw line. Also had 3 assists, a couple really good pass outs from the post. Loyer had a much better game offensively, 13 points, 2 assists, 1 of 3 from 3, and then was at 5 of 8 from 2. Really got downhill. Smith, 9, 4, and 2, just kind of another game for Smith. Newman with some clutch free throws. He missed the first one very early, makes the second, but then down the stretch knocks down both of his, which everybody did. Edey went 2 for 2, Newman went 2 for 2, Smith went 2 for 2, Morton went 1 for 2, but still enough to get the win. 0 for 5 from Newman, and that's just kind of a theme for Purdue in general. Ethan Morton hits 2 big threes off the bench, finished as 2 for 4, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. I thought he was a net positive on offense, which is always a good thing from them. And then just overall, 4-19 from 3 for Purdue, 10-24 from 3 from Wisconsin, 11 of 18 from the line, 37 rebounds to 23 with, a lot of them, 10 being offensive for Purdue and being for Wisconsin. And I think that's the main ones. Klesmit gets going, 19 points, and Lindsay, it's always Lindsay time in Wisconsin, comes off the bench in the first half, Jill's 8. After rambling off all the stats, Aidan, what kind of stands out to you from there, or just any stats in general?
Well, yeah, and before we get into the stats, real quick, just want to remind everyone, like and subscribe, get that like number up. I don't know what it is right now. We got 100 people in here. Let's get that like number up. Even if Craig and Braggs are not here tonight, you gotta live with the young guns, but get that like number up. But stats wise, I think the rebound, Edey almost out rebounds them by himself. He was really dominant on the glass today. Obviously at 19, but I just thought he crashed the glass hard on both ends of the glass, offense and defense. I think you look at the shooting, you look at the 3-point shooting at 4 for 19. It's not going to get it done when it's March. That's not a number that's sustainable, I don't think, come March. And the chat's already said that as well. Like that, we got to hit shots. They're good looks. You can't ask for better looks than the ones our guys are getting right now. And the reality is they're just not knocking them down. The free throw line tonight, Edey has this weird start, kind of gets in his head, almost, gets angry at the rim. And then at the end, it was just like staring down the rim, almost like it was just him versus the rim there. And obviously he's able to hit the free throws. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And then Smith's just super consistent. So, I mean, just the shooting, like, it's got to get better, man. And we've been told all year that this team no, wait, actually, guys, these guys, they're really good. They really can shoot it. And currently 236 in the country in 3-point percentage. So it's, hopefully eventually they come around, but we're kind of keep waiting and waiting, and it just hasn't happened yet. So,
yeah, I'm with you there. And I think, it's taken Purdue has played 30 games now. What are they at? They're 29 games. I'm officially on the train of, hey, Purdue actually is not a good shooting team. It took a lot of effort from them, but they finally willed me over to that part, which takes a lot for me, just because they're getting good looks for the most part. But yeah, that's what stands out. I think first is the 3-point shooting. Even in the win, you knock down two more, gets you to 6 and 19. That's closer to the average, and this game is a little less hectic down the stretch. Edey, dominant. The weird stuff from the free throw line, I think that's more of an abnormality than what actually is going to happen. 17 and 19, I think that can't be overlooked, and we're very good at just kind of overlooking Edey sometimes in these post game shows, but I just don't think that can be overlooked at all. And then the other one that really it's more individual, but the Loyer 13 points, the 5 of 8 from 2, it just. You can see it was nice to see him be able to do something against non super physical guards. And it is a concern that he hasn't been able to produce against the physical guards. Don't get me wrong, because that's, there's a good chance that there's a matchup like that in the tournament. But, he gets some of these smaller guards, Klesmit, Esijan, and we were talking on our Feed the Post podcast that we recorded earlier, did Big Ten awards for anybody that wants to check that out after. This should be on Apple, Google, and Spotify. And we were saying Esijan and Loyer are basically the same player.
Yeah.
And so they can defend each other the same. And Loyer was able to get going against him. He was able to take Klesmit, even against the hard hedge. That Wisconsin did, that's kind of slowed Loyer down. Loyer did a good job of just kind of fighting it off and getting down. So I like that a lot. Ethan Morton's 2 threes came at big moments, and I don't think those can be really overlooked either. And then 11 assists, so a little under 50% of the shots, and you kind of take that when there was a good amount of Edey post-ups and a lot of Loyer drives. So those are the main ones there. I'm sure there will be more that as some of the other stats populate that we'll get into.
Well, we can jump into a little bit of a Loyer discussion right here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think the chat's got some takes on him for sure. I think at least he was able to get in the lane in this game. And get, we were texting about it. He finally had a favorable matchup. Klesmit was guarding him, Esijan. That's a guy he looks at and goes, I can take him all the way to the rim. We saw it one time. He just said, I'm getting to the rim in a way that he just has not at any point this season. Getting downhill to Klesmit. I mean, he had the awesome little shuffle in and out dribble to the sideline. Knocks down that jumper when he threw that, when he did a little get action with Kaufman-Renn, which is just throwing it to your teammate and then getting a handoff, which basically turns into a screen. Knocks that one down. He just saw some shots go in. It was nice. He hit the 3 early from the top of the key. You still feel like you honestly feel like he just shouldn't miss open threes. No. And so when he gets the one on the far right wing that's wide open after a great possession, you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't he knock that down? But I think there's some hate for Loyer in the chat. I think he is what he is defensively. He's not going to get any better. You got to hope there's a favorable matchup for him there, Yep. But I do think watching this game tonight, when he wasn't in there and Edey, wasn't in there, it's kind of like, who's going to create here? Jenkins can knock down shots off the dribble. But we all love Brandon Newman. He is a standstill catch and shoot 3-point shooter, guys. He is
maybe
really,
one dribble on a flyby. That's it.
Yeah, and he is really probably has the weakest handle on the team, and I really think that's what's held him back. Obviously excluding Edey, whatever. The bigs, but
out of the guards.
I think, out of the guards, I think it's true. I really don't think. I think he has so much gravity as a shooter, but he's not able to shot fake, drive, and score. And he had played a nice game tonight. But I do think that's the element that Loyer gives. He's really the only guy who can create his own shot on this team. Smith at times, but even without a ball screen, Loyer can get to a reasonably efficient shot for him.
Yeah.
And we saw him do that tonight. Sometimes those shots are tough and you don't like the look of them, but they go in a good enough amount, or at least they were earlier in the season. And, he was a guy who steadied the offense when Edey wasn't in there. So I was pleased with his game tonight. I get the defensive concerns that the Chad's bringing up here a little bit. But again, I just think, I think this guy, Square Basketball, says it right here. Like, it's strength, guys. He's still young. And I think as that comes, he's going to be really, really good. In the present, he's skilled, needs to start hitting open shots for sure. And I hope he will do that. I don't know, but I hope so.
Yeah, he hit the one off the Edey kick out from the post, which was good to see go down. Smith got one too. But yeah, no, I like Loyer. I just don't know what you take out. Like, you take out Loyer. If you're going pure defensive and you saw it down the stretch, you put Newman in, and that makes sense. But now if you have Newman and Morton in, like, that does not work offensively, unless you're purely relying on Smith just getting downhill. Loyer, like you said, he's the only guy. Jenkins is the other guy that can create a shot for himself. Lawyer's the only guy, I think, period, that can generate a rim touch. Maybe not when he wants, but at least has the capability of just creating a rim touch by himself. Smith can some, but he more needs a screen, and he's elite at that. I'm not taking that away from him, but there is that part. Like Michael Van Meter said, like, Loyer was billed as an elite shooter. Haven't quite seen it yet. We've seen it in stretches. I don't know if it's freshman wall. I don't know if it's just taking time to get adjusted to college or what. Because you look through last threes. I mean, he's 1 of 4, 2 of 5, and 1 of 3. He's had the games like the Nebraska game, 6 of 12, the opening game, 5 of 12. But you're right. Like, we haven't seen this elite shooting that we thought we were. And we need it at some point. Purdue needs it coming into the tournament. Like, Purdue needs somebody to knock down open shots. Today it was Ethan Morton. He knocks down 2, and those were big. And I know he missed 2 later, but I'll take 2 of 4 shooting from Ethan Morton. I will take every single day from it. Literally, honestly, anybody at this point. You give somebody 4 open shots right now and they make 2, I'm happy.
Sure. And when he gets his feet set, I think he's solid. Like, Ethan's solid. I even thought that last 3, I mean, it was in and out. That was a good look for him. There's something about those rims. You kind of hear them. They seemed a little weird. They took some weird bounces, but that one goes almost down. Wisconsin had a few that maybe should have gone down.
Yeah.
But I think, that the big story maybe from tonight is kind of and then we can get onto our other segments, but I do think we got to touch on the change of the starting lineup. Like, that was unexpected. I don't think anyone really saw that coming.
Before you really get into it, and maybe I'm stealing your point, I don't want to jump in. Did Morton look sick to you?
Morton?
Or am I making that up because he didn't start?
I didn't have that point, but I didn't really look. Honestly, I don't really know.
I don't know if he was just white.
He might have been
super white, and lighting and stuff. Like, it may have just looked bad for him. Coming from another guy who's very, very white. So
well, it's one thing you and I have in common on here. So I think we can recognize that when we see it. But I don't know. I think maybe just kind of inject a little bit of energy. And you saw it. Like, the one thing about Newman and the thing about this Purdue defense is they're generally pretty conservative as a defense, and Morton kind of embodies that. He's not really trying to make the hero play defensively, especially as an individual defender. I think he's going to play solid team defense and then try to guard the opposing team's best player. But with Newman, you get this variable of, okay, he's going to jump a few passing lanes. He's going to take a couple risks. And a lot of times that's what leads to him, taking a seat next to Matt Painter. But tonight we see that pay off, and you're almost like, wow, okay. He's bringing an element that we don't usually see, jumping passing lanes, being physical, pushing you out to half court. Like, that's a thing that Purdue's defense just isn't usually typically interested in doing,
I noticed it too.
I don't know. I liked it.
I think I'm becoming more of a guy of just like, I don't care as much who starts. I really don't. I think who plays more minutes and who finishes, and how the rotation is set up is more important. Like, and that when we saw that the starting lineup, I texted you, I was just like, so like, who's going to score on this second unit? And you were just like, yeah, the rotations are going to be interesting, and they were like obviously Painter is a very, 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 very good head coach. He would recognize like, hey, if Morton's in the second unit, there's nobody period that really can create. And so, he rotated Morton in with the starters, kind of him in first, and get back there, and then kind of rotate back to the bench. It's a good problem to have. Like, I know that at times with Newman, he's kind of polarized, and it becomes like you're for or against him type thing. And I said that in air quotes for anybody that's listening on the podcast feed. Like this is a good problem to have. I hope that Newman and Bourne are both playing so well that it's just like, man, like I'm comfortable with both, and they bring different things, like you said. Newman is going to be a little more aggressive. He can play. He can be like really, really into man-to-man. He really gets into his man. Morton is going to be trying to just more keep you in front or play within the scheme more. And then, I mean, on the other end, offensively, like Morton is not that much worse than Newman at this point.
No, definitely not.
Now, the one thing that is going for Newman is, and honestly, this is half the battle, right? And you I know you as a coach know this probably even better. Like, half the battle is not whether you're actually good or not on offense. It's just whether you get more respect. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like he has more respect still, and that is a big thing. But purely based on play, I think they're about the same. But I think that there's that aspect for Newman of he just gets more respect. But even there, they do different things. Newman is more of a shooter. He can get to a one dribble pull up, things like that. Where Morton's going to be, you're hoping he knocks down an open three, and you're hoping he gets into the paint and facilitates. So, in terms of that, you go.
And one thing, like I'm just seeing in the chat is this thing of we need more Newman and Morton together. And that comes from kind of being the chat kind of collectively being down on Loyer. And I just, my question with that is who's creating your offense if it's not a Smith Edey pick and roll, at that point? Because really lack of ball handling with that lineup. I mean, if you go Smith, Newman, Morton, whoever you prefer at the 4, Edey, like, boy, I mean, you better be getting good Braden Smith that night, or you're not, obviously for the time that lineup's in there. So I don't know. I think Loyer has to be out there. I'm just going to say that. I know people disagree, whatever, but like, I think Loyer's got to be out there because of the way he can handle the basketball and the pick and roll. He's a secondary creator with Smith. And just kind of facilitates the offense and makes it go a little bit. Newman, I think, did fine for what he was supposed to do. And I think, moving forward, I'll be interested to see if Paint sticks with it or it was kind of a one-game thing. Maybe Morton was sick. Who knows? But, and Blake says he's a liability on D. That's fair. That's totally fair. But
who's replacing him?
Well, they say Morton, Morton and Newman defensively. And then, certainly that'd be an upgrade over Loyer.
Oh, and that's what they went to down the stretch when they wanted to stop, is that they went to those two.
Yeah,
and I think that.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I also would tell you that, Purdue's been a pretty darn good half-court defensive team. I think tonight was excellent. The half-court defense was rock solid. Forcing Wisconsin into tough twos, where, the Hood-Schifino would make those, as we know. These guys are not. These guys are not going to make those shots. Forcing a baseline, especially Chucky Hepburn throwing up stuff on the baseline. They gave up the switch to Edey too much. That was on Braden Smith more than anything. Just kind of being lazy, and he got pulled for it. But just overall, I thought really solid, half-court defensive performance, with the obvious caveat that it's Wisconsin.
Yeah, that they're not a very, very good offensive team. Like, there was definitely miscues, and we'll get into those. But yeah, no, I think for the most part, like, it was really good defense. You let Klesmit get loose a little bit. You let Esigian get loose a couple times, especially on as I said before, the post splits, which I love watching them so much. They're so much fun to watch. But and I think we can we'll transition here maybe to clipboard or chalkboard, whatever we're calling it. Joe's chalkboard. Okay, yeah. Braggs and Craig aren't here. Maybe they're in the stream. But so everybody that's here, we'll kind of keep this a secret from them. And then maybe we can try it next time. We'll see. Do we like Joe's X's and O's? Is that or do we like the Joe's chalkboard?
Workshopping something new. This is like Home Alone when the parents leave and you're gonna throw a party.
Yeah.
You and I are throwing a party, and we gotta get it ready for the weekend. Got to clean it up after the fact.
So let us know if you like that. I'm gonna go now into whatever we're calling it: Joe's X's and O's, Joe's chalkboard, whatever. I will say this is one brought to you kind of by Aidan. We were texting before, and he gave me the name punch. I didn't really know that before, and I'll talk about it. But Purdue went to it a few times, and this one specifically was for the first lob. So starts out here. You have this ram screen, which is just a down screen where then Morton comes up and sets a screen. And that's the ram part right here. So down screen into it for Morton. But what Morton did instead of actually setting the screen is he just ghosts. And ghost means you fake like you're going to set the screen, and then you just come out. And so now he clears out here. There's my eraser. And so as he was setting the screen here. So now he's kind of down here. Ball's here, and it's just a simple here. And this is where the punch is. So as imagine Morton's still here. As Edey's coming down, setting this screen, he's then turning and kind of like sealing. We're calling it punch action. And so he's here. Now they ran it a couple times, right? So now that there's this, you have Loyer with the ball here, Smith here, Morton spaced out. This was first in the corner. But what they did the one time is, a couple times they get it to Edey, and Edey just turns or double comes, kick out. But the one time, because Wisconsin, they were like, he was almost playing like a defensive back and trying to like intercept this pass. And he was like, honestly, Loyer had it. He just like faked once. He gets the defender to way bite. And so now the defender's like here. And then it was just the first back door. And then that was the lob to the dunk. And they ran it a couple times this year, twice that I can remember with no success. But this one was wide open. Like first took off pretty much from here. Like he didn't really have any real trouble at all getting that. But yeah, so it's just the ram screen, which is the down screen. Morton goes, ball here. And then there's just, it's just another really creative way to get the ball into Edey. And then if they do this where they double, triple, even before the pass gets there, now you have a counter, especially with first coming off this lob, this baseline cut for the lob. So, just another really good action, I thought, and Aidan noticed it too. And one that I think they go to a decent bit in various games. It kind of almost seems like game to game that Purdue has like some post-entry set they're going to go to. Like last game, and I didn't really get to draw it. I'll draw it really quick because it's going to take 2 seconds. Last game, it was just like, this is Edey. And it was just, all this was just a horns high-low. So horns is you have like 2 screens here. And so you'd have Smith come off the ball here off this screen, and then he would flare up, he would roll. It's a pass, and then it's just high-low. They just have it seems like they have like one play a game. They're just like, all right, this is how we're going to get the ball in the post. So that is that for Joe's chalkboard, Joe's X's and O's. We're going to workshop it. We'll see what we want to do. But before we kind of move on, do you want to give a shout out to our sponsors today? First, start with our guys over at Shire Insurance. Make sure, go to them for all the insurance needs that you have. As life changes, your insurance needs change. Shire Insurance Services and Crown Point, representing autos owners insurance, has been helping clients with their changing insurance needs for over 25 years. As an independent agency, we love working with auto owners to provide excellent service to our clients. Buying your first home, start with Shire. Expanding your business, start with Shire. Your teenage driver passed the driving test and you're worried about the increased cost in auto insurance, start with Shire. Whatever your insurance concern or need, we are ready to help make those things easier for you. Call 663-7274 or search online to start with Shire.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense.
Ask Shire Insurance Services, serving Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, if auto owners make sense for you.
Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
And then got to give a shout out to our guys over at Mad Mush. Best pizza in West Lafayette, best cheese sticks. And I had them. I had it Sunday for dinner. Didn't really want to cook, so had some Mad Mush. Make sure to use code BITS, Boilers in the Stands. So BITS, BITS, for 15% off any order. And it is coupon code, because when I went, I'm ordering my Mad Mush online, and I go and put in the promo code BITS, and there's nothing that pops up. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? But then I went to coupon code, and I typed in BITS, and I got 15% off. Basically, you're getting like a slice or two for free. So really good pizza. I know, college students, we live off of it a bit, and
for sure,
people that have gone here, they know it too, or come back in town, definitely order some. So got to give a shout out to them. And now we'll kind of transition into, I think, just some players that we want to talk about. Let's start with Zach Edey, because let's make sure that we talk about the National Player of the Year, the Big Ten Player of the Year, best player in the country, having one of the most dominant seasons in a long, long time. Zach Edey, 17 points, 19 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 7 of 9 from the field, 3 of 8 from the line. And see, this is the issue, because I say all that, and then I'm just like, well, what do I say about Zach Edey?
Right.
Like, he is dominant down low. Nobody can guard him one-on-one. He at times can get in trouble when teams when he gets in trouble when teams like double and eat up his space, and he has to like fall away.
Yeah, which cylinder rule. Hello. Not just completely not enforced. There were some egregious examples tonight. I just don't get that. It's fine, but why is it a rule then if it's not going to get called?
So yeah, no. That. But aside from that, he had 3 assists, 2 assists, 3 assists. He had the 2 kickouts. He had 1 to Loyer, 1 to Smith, wide open threes. Like, he just has, his gravity is absurd. And when you hear gravity, at least in the NBA, you think of Steph, just because you have to pull so far out from the 3-point line to guard him. Edey's the opposite. You have to have 1, 2, maybe 3 bodies at all times on him. If you leave him one-on-one, good luck. It's literally just whether he makes or misses the shot. It's as simple as that. When you do double, it's got to be on time. Purdue does a good job of countering like those plays, like I said, get him in spots where he can go quick, or you get him into the middle, and then he can really just turn and go. I don't think Crowell's a great matchup, even at 7 foot or whatever he is. I don't know. Do you have anything offensive? Because I do want to talk about defensive if you don't have much offensive.
I just would say that he was a huge reason for one of Purdue's huge advantages, which is just getting in the bonus so early. They really, that's the thing that Purdue Painter talks about a lot. Like, how can we quickly get in the bonus? If we can do it, the earlier we can do it, obviously the better. It came in huge because really one of the big plays of the game was that scramble where Sejan not bumps into Smith down the stretch there. And now we're down 1 and we get our best free throw shooter to the line shooting 2. And that doesn't happen, if we're not in the bonus. So I think you can almost just give Zach credit entirely for being in the bonus for the most part. He draws so many fouls. I think he drew 8 tonight. So, it's just stupid. Like, again, like you said, there's really not much to say. We could talk about his defense because it was certainly a little more eventful than his usual defensive performance tonight.
Yeah, when I just want to start with, like, what did you think? I was not expecting to see, especially when Gillis got the start, which I guess we're going to talk about Gillison first in a minute. We'll get to all of that. But Gillis starts on Crowell. Edey starts on Wall. Were you shocked? I was surprised, but then as I thought, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, Wall really, he made a 3 today, and it was his 8th one on the year.
No, I thought this was a savvy move. You think about, Crowell can stretch the floor more than Edey can, and Edey is, and we saw it tonight because there were a few times where Edey got pulled out. Like, he just needs to be in the paint. Like, however you can get him in the paint, altering, just being that huge, barricade at the rim. Like that's what Purdue needs. So whoever the matchup is where he can spend the most time possible in the paint, I think is the best matchup, whether that was Anton Watson for Gonzaga versus Drew Timme, or whoever. Like, I know Hunter Dickinson was on his podcast complaining about, no one wants to actually play me straight up. They want to, like, I can't play the other team's best big because they always have him on somebody else or he's doubling. And I'm like, well, we're trying to win basketball games here. We don't really care about individual matchups. So, I think it was the right move. I think I think Braden Smith is going to look back at this game and think, wow, I really left us out to dry here because I was lazy getting over screens. And ultimately then, I mean, the book's out. Like, if you snake a ball screen, Purdue's going to switch it. And snaking, of course, means, as you come off the screen, you're going to turn and kind of put your defender in jail. We've talked about this a little bit before. If you played basketball, you would probably know what snaking is. And, you get your defender on your hip. You get the defender on your hip, and now it's difficult for that defender to get back around. And so Purdue's philosophy is just, have Zach Edey switch onto him and see what happens. And Wisconsin exploited that tonight.
Yeah, no, I agree with pretty much all you said. Like, if you can keep Zach in the paint, that's a win defensively. The guards do have to be better. I think that's part of the case for Edey for like a defensive player of the year is just like, Morton and Morton started off as really, really, really good a defender. I think he's taken a step back over the past couple of games. Newman has stepped up in that time. Aside from that, there's no real, I don't think I would call anybody else a good on-ball defender per se. And so Edey is tasked with a lot more than he probably should be at his size, other than just pure protecting the rim. I even when he gets switched, I still stand with, I'm not too scared. He's going to get blown by every once in a while, and he's going to give up a random three every once in a while. But like the Chucky one was a step back, I believe, over him. Klesmit was 4 feet behind the line. It's just like, obviously at 7'4", he's going to give up a shot. But I don't think it's terrible ones when he gets switched out. I really don't. I think he forces shots that Wisconsin's like, hey, maybe that isn't our best shot. Well, maybe not Wisconsin's a good example because they live and die by jump shots. But in general, I would say that. So, and is there anything else for Edey? Like, he's dominant. He's the best player in the country. If he gets any help around him, then it makes life even easier, as some people have said, and I agree.
Yeah, like I said, I just think just really impressed with his effort on the boards. I mean, just really dominated, almost out rebounded Wisconsin, like we said. Like that can't go unsaid,
Yeah, for sure. So I think we got to get to the Gillis first, TKR, the 4 spot. And that was one of the main notes that I put, and we've gotten some comments about it. There's, 5, 6, 7 games ago, I remember coming on here and being like, what Purdue gets every single time from the 4? They get a high energy guy that's going to knock down some open shots and make plays on the glass. And Purdue just isn't getting it flat out. I don't know if Gillis is still dealing with the back or whatever. I think he's just not been good for the most part. First, even his he doesn't quite have that spring to him, it seems like. He's been one that's, at one point he was like top 30 offensive rebounding in the country. He's 59th now, offensive rebounding percentage. I mean, he just seems to, and I don't know if it's because it's late in the season, you have your little knick-knack injuries that do add up. But it's just a big issue. Like there was the one stint in the second half where I was like, okay, Purdue spacing's really bad with TKR in. But aside from that, I honestly like TKR more today at the 4. And maybe that's just me being a little upset with that. Maybe it's me comparing Gilson first to like what I'm used to getting from them for energy. And so maybe that isn't fair. And I'm definitely willing to concede that fact, but I thought TKR was solid. I don't think that TKR/Edey lineup is for every game, but what are your overall thoughts for really wherever you want to go with all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on First and Gillis. I think you need more. You just need more production from those guys. We've seen it this year. They've given it to us, and that's been an underrated reason during these, losing 4 of 6. Those guys haven't played that well. I would push back on the TKR. I liked him. I thought his first stretch at the 5 was awesome. And then I think Painter kind of thought, okay, he's playing well. I don't want to take him out, but we got to put Edey back in. I mean, it's just he's sat for too long. So I think was why he did that. I just got annoyed by the spacing because it was just two guys inside the arc, and they were trying to get that high low, and it just bothered me. Like, he wouldn't get out of the way, and he just doesn't know how to go occupy that corner, and there were a few times where Loyer was trying to throw in a post up and like, hey, TKR, get out of there so I can clear this side so that I can throw it into Edey, and he's just standing there. So I throw it to you, and then you don't throw it in there. You just pass it back to me, and I'm like, okay, like you got to have a better feel for spacing here.
Yeah.
Now that's not something he's used to. He pretty much primarily plays the 5, so I totally get that. But again, I agree. I mean, shoot. I'm not all against putting Morton in there at the 4.
Yeah.
I mean, at times, like,
that
why
would
not?
Be,
I mean,
that would be the Newman Morton lineup that works, or at least
it might be. It might be. We got Craig Bowers jumping on here, our third co-host. Let's see if this works. Craig, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
Awesome. Signal up here in Wisconsin must be better than Indiana for brags.
There you go.
Yeah,
well,
no
they knew it was
kidding.
special for you. So, we were talking about first Gillis, but what are your thoughts on the game? You were at the game. Any fun fan experiences, anything like that you got to share? But then just overall thoughts from the game.
I guess about the Kohl Center in general, I know other people have opinions about like the second best place to Mackey in the Big Ten. I've been to the Kohl Center twice. I've been to Breslin twice, State Farm Center twice. The Kohl Center to me matches anywhere. Everybody in there is loud. I know Breslin down on the floor around the student section is loud, but if you're up higher, Breslin's pretty quiet, really. Kohl Center is always loud, always brings it, but I've been there twice as a Purdue fan, and everybody's been nice and cordial to me around me. I had my son with me tonight, who's a Wisconsin fan, who was wearing red, so maybe they took it easy on me because we were 50-50 in the family.
There you go.
But no, it was a real good experience. So,
yeah, no, that's awesome to hear. I think your son may have been in the comments saying that Braden Smith got clamped. Talking about some fouls down the stretch. You agreed with one that probably should have been a foul. He said, I think, but.
Yeah, he likes to slide in the chat there. He was talking smack about Jackson and Loyer going into the game, so I was glad Loyer kind of quieted him up a little bit there tonight. So
yeah,
it was a nice game from Loyer. It was a nice game from Loyer. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah.
Would Loyer still be your 5th on the freshman team? Me and Aidan did our podcast award show today, but what would yours be?
I mean, I think it's close. I think you can make an argument between Loyer and Jackson, but I don't know where the voters will go there, really. We were talking about that. Did they vote on that at the end of the regular season or after the Big Ten tourney?
I would assume
I'm not
regular
sure on
season.
That. Yeah, I would think regular season.
Yeah, I thought it was a regular season award, so I'd have to look at the actual stats. But man, Jackson's been making a push towards the end of the season for sure. So, yeah.
The stats are identical, which is just funny. But the stats are identical.
I got
literally,
you.
Like points are within 0.5.
Yeah, in that case, you're generally going to give the edge to the guy that's on the number 5 ranked team in the country. So.
Yeah, true. So what was your concern level like, Craig? Because, I mean, it was a time where Wisconsin takes the lead there. You're in the building. Kind of what were your overall feelings about the game and in that second half where they were making a push?
Yeah, I mean, stress, man. Stress. Like I said, I came to the Kohl Center last year. I went to Breslin last year, and we lose both those games right at the end last year. We flipped that at Breslin this year. And I looked at my son and I said, those crazy bounces and maybe calls you get or don't get at the end of the game tend to balance out over time, and just kind of felt like we were going to get a bounce that went our way, or we were going to get a call that went our way, which I think we did on the last drive by Wisconsin personally. I was sitting on the end with them coming right at me. That's probably a foul, but they didn't blow the whistle, so we kind of got a break there and then won it at the free throw line from there on out. So, but no doubt, definitely stress. I was there for the Bank 3 last year, and you just worry that, like Painter says, you got to be 10 points better on the road, and they weren't tonight, but they still managed a way to pull it out. And I don't care what anybody says, road wins in the Big Ten. You saw Minnesota knock off Rutgers earlier, right? So road wins in the Big Ten, all wins are good wins, no matter how they come. I think we shot our average with the Wilson ball tonight, right?
Yeah.
From 3.
Probably good.
Yeah.
21%.
Yeah, that was the other thing my son put in the chat was Loyer must be better with the Wilson ball, I guess. So
I hope so. I hope so,
We'll
man.
need it.
yeah.
I don't. What was the thoughts to going through your head when Klesman gets the ball with 4 seconds? Is it oh, here we go again, or were you confident?
No, I wasn't confident, not at all, man. But first made a play at the rim, and he put the official in a situation where he made him make a decision. And I didn't see the end of the Michigan-Illinois game, but I heard there was some things there where same thing. You put the official in a spot where he's got to make a decision, and the official didn't blow the whistle. So it works out in the end. But no doubt, definitely stress. But I thought there were bright spots tonight still. Newman goes 0 of 5 from 3, and you were hoping to get some offensive punch from him. But I thought he was really, really good on a Siegen tonight. I think he only let him get 2 on him. I think the rest of his points came on Morton, I'm pretty sure. Or if he got switched onto Loyer. So I thought he was really good defensively, got a couple of steals. And then kind of inversely and oddly, Morton provided the offensive punch coming off the bench, going 2 for 2, right? Like, it was it was a weird little flip there. All of a sudden, Newman was the defensive specialist, and Morton was giving some offensive punch off the bench. So, and man, that last 3 of Morton's was halfway down.
Oh, it was.
Like that was game, and it was dead on. Got a good look, shot it confident. That would have been game right there. I really wish I would have seen that go down for him. So
yeah, for sure.
But
okay,
the other thing, real quick, and then I'm going to hop off here. I really, really liked the TKR to Edey action with both bigs in playing high to low with 2 bigs. I thought that worked really effectively in the first half. And it kind of kept Wisconsin from crashing with that double quite as fast, or at least with length at the other spot coming over for the double. I was a little surprised we didn't see that a little bit more in the second half because I thought it worked. TKR kind of threw a lazy pass one time and it got a turnover, but I thought it worked really well in the first half.
Yeah, no, that's actually that's where what we were just talking about was Edey, TKR, just the 4 spot in general for Purdue. But I don't know if you're wanting to get going. We can let you go. I don't know really what you're wanting. All right, you got to get driving. Safe driving.
I got 5.5 hours left. So
Oh man, good luck.
Get home
Drive safe.
Yeah.
all right,
sure.
see ya.
So see ya.
Drive safe, Craig. That was Craig's son. He's a Wisconsin fan. If anybody doesn't know, that's why he was at the game.
Yes.
So that guy in red there giving Craig the bunny ears was his son, who's a Wisconsin fan. We hope he drives home safe. He's got a long road ahead, but good to have Craig jump in there. We could talk. I think we kind of touched on the TKR thing. I mean,
yeah.
I liked it. Like I liked seeing it because I just like the change up, but
I like it as an option. I guess I should clarify. Like, I don't think TKR should start or anything, but I like it as a sprinkled in for 3-4 minutes.
Sure. I liked how willing Coach Paint was to get creative tonight. I mean, he really threw a lot of different looks out there, and ultimately it worked. We got a win, but it also is like valuable experience for March. Now, some of these times in March, like now it's not the first time this lineup has played together, So I really liked how Painter coached this game. I think he did a great job as always.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. Obviously there was a change to the starting lineup. Everybody played at least 14 minutes. And I think really maybe we'll touch on Newman a little bit again, but aside from that, really the only guys we haven't talked about at this point is Smith and Jenkins. Smith was, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was a good game. I wouldn't say it was a great game. It wasn't a bad game though. He had a couple assists. He had that one pass in the first half was just nuts too.
Yeah.
Was that to Morton in the corner?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. No, because it went in, so it had to be Morton.
Oh yeah.
So there was that. I I don't know if there's too much to talk about with Braden today. I don't know if you had anything stick out to you. I don't really have anything coming to my mind.
We talked a little bit about the defensive effort. I just didn't think it was up to par with what we needed.
Yeah.
Overall, and that's fine that he'll clean that up. And I thought he played much better once he got a nice, couple minutes on the bench there. Painter was pretty frustrated. Knocked down his free throws as always, man. Like that's one thing you can expect with Braden. People saying, he needs to shoot more in the chat. Got him 9 shots. Felt like he took the good ones. Took one maybe that he forced from 3. And I love that little pull up too he took late that just went in and out again.
Yeah.
Another one that looked in and just didn't really fall. Yeah, I don't know that Painter loved Smith's game tonight, Corey. I don't think I don't know that that'll be the most fun film session tomorrow.
At least it's after a win. There'll be that part of
it. For sure.
Makes it at least a little better. Let's get to Jenkins because I feel like we haven't talked about Jenkins for a few games. Do you want to see more minutes from him? Do you I don't know. I thought he was solid. He had a couple tough pull-ups. I don't think he does aside from pull-up shooting, I don't think he does anything great per se, but he tries on defense, I think, for the most part. He's 6'1", and it's tough to play him with Smith defensively, although you could make the case that Loyer isn't great defensively too, and I hear you there as well. So I know some people are wanting it more. I'm pretty lost on Jenkins. Like I don't know if he should play more. I just don't know. I don't have a good feel on him.
Yeah, something Painter said I think this week when they were interviewing him about like senior night. So I think it was this week. Was that he actually prefers to shoot off the dribble, or he's better off the dribble or something of that nature. And he kind of saw that tonight. Like he missed all his really good wide open catch and shoot opportunities. I would think he had 2, and then he made both shots off the dribble, which were way, way more contested. And some of those guys are like that, and I think you just kind of have to have a short leash with him and not let him get too trigger happy. But this is a guy who most of his career has had to score from an isolation standpoint, and now is asked to play off the ball, sometimes on the ball, sometimes off the ball. You never really know. So I think he plays the right amount of minutes, like Corey said right here. Like I wouldn't play him anymore. I wouldn't play him any less. I think the variance right now is with Newman and a lot of people are asking about Edey. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, I don't think so. Purdue doesn't usually do that, right?
We're not gonna know till March. Or I mean, not March, till May. He's gonna go. No matter what you think, if he's NBA, not whatever, he's going through the draft process and he's going to get feedback. I think he's gone personally, but that's just I have no evidence to point to that other than I don't think his draft capital will be anywhere higher than what it is today or at the end of the season. But we won't know that till March or May. He's going to go through the draft process, get feedback from GMs, from scouts, from coaches, and then figure out from there if he wants to come back or not. To your Jenkins point, I looked up the numbers. He's averaging 1.0 points per possession on pull-ups and 0.8 points per possession on all catch and shoots.
Wow.
He's averaging 1.0 on pull-ups and 0.96 on open catch and shoots for this year. So, it does fit with the theme. I'm going to go real quick to one of his bigger years as I type, and I'm honestly just stalling.
Well, and as you do that, Bragg's checking in from Indianapolis, doing awesome work down there at the Combine. He's done really great stuff. Even if you're not necessarily an NFL fan, Greg's been doing some cool journals that really aren't necessarily related to the NFL. A lot of it's about kind of the Combine experience for him being a reporter down there, networking, getting in the media scrum, trying to compete to ask a question. It's just really good stuff. So whether you're a football fan or not, go over to G Braggs Jr. Twitter and kind of check some of that stuff out he's doing for CHGO Bears. So we miss you, Braggs. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if he was more scared to ask Painter a question or do the Combine stuff. But we'll have to ask him Sunday, or maybe you can put it in the chat. But real quick, Jenkins is his second year at South Dakota State. 1.78 points per possession on open catch and shoot, 1.44 on all, and 1.11 on dribble pull-ups, which is just a nuts stat line in general. But Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else on the men's side? I know we want to talk about women's in general, just for the women's game in general for a bit, because Purdue did knock off Wisconsin twice today, 2 times. Purdue knocked off Wisconsin in the women's Big Ten tournament. It was a nail biter. Purdue was down 30-12, and they ended up winning. Do you remember the final score? They won by 2 off of
50 something, 57, 55, maybe something like that.
But definitely want to give them some love. Like it was a good job to fight back they're right on the bubble. This win kind of puts them closer to the safe side from all my understanding with how that bracketology is working. But a really good win. And now I believe they play Iowa tomorrow, if I remember how the bracket worked. And that'll be.
I think it's Maryland. I think it's
Maryland.
I could be wrong on that, but I think it's Maryland.
If you have anything to say about it, then go for it.
Just awesome. Like really cool. Biggest comeback I think in Big Ten tournament history. Yeah, since 05. Okay. But boy, that's impressive for Coach Gerald's and her team. Watching the end. Okay, we do play Iowa according to JB.
Yeah, it is Iowa. Yeah.
Okay, well that's too bad. But still, like, go play, see what happens. They're already kind of into the tournament, so this is when you can kind of play with house money. Just awesome execution down the stretch there, getting the ball into Janai Terry's hands, swinging it out to Jayla Smith, who hits the 3. Indiana kid, Lawrence North, missed basketball, and comes through in the clutch. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and Abby Ellis was good. She this was a game that, aside from her early, she was the only one that scored in the first quarter. She had all 7 points for Purdue, and but the one thing that impressed me is just her footwork. Her step through is so good. She's so good at just drives down. She's not, she's a smaller guard, just kind of gets on 2 feet, pivots, step through, layup. But I just want to give them a shout out before we kind of wrap things up, because they are doing big things. They're 1000% heading in the right direction. Possible tourney bid this year, and it's looking more and more like that. And so definitely support them tomorrow too. They play.
And that game, that game's at 6:30 on Big Ten Network. Just want to let everyone know. So go ahead and check that out. They're having a great season. I mean, if you're at a sectional game like I will be here in the great state of Indiana, then you can watch it on your phone. Caitlin Clark taking on the Boilers, so that'll be a fun game for us here, Purdue fans.
Yeah. So, do we have anything else? I do want to Cedar Lake. That's where I'm from, actually. So,
okay, shout
out Cedar Lake, which is not a big town by any means. So, fun to see somebody.
Okay, hold on. I can talk about this all day.
There you go.
Well, firstly, you could check out Flory Badunga. Top 5 prospect in 2024, and see him take on local team Harrison. The Raiders are still alive, but that's at Kokomo tomorrow night. You could check out Cannon Catchings, new 5-star per the 24/7 composite rankings, or not composite, regular rankings. And he is playing against Terre Haute South, I believe, or Terre Haute North at Plainfield. So that would be a good one as well. Kokomo sectional is at Kokomo, yes, not at Harrison, unfortunately, for us local fans. So a couple of those, you want to see some future Boilers, hopeful future Boilers with Flory, but certainly, with Catchings. And then Jack Benner, he's playing as well against a Providence in a game that it could be for the 2A state title, to be honest. Providence and Brownstown Central down south. If you are, in the southern part of the state, that would be a good one to check out as well. Providence and Brownstown Central with Jack Benner. Purdue commit. So, a couple of good ones. I could talk about that all day. My team's out. Unfortunately, the team I coach, West Lafayette, we went down on Tuesday, but that means I'll be watching somewhere else.
So there you go. Got the high school roundup. There, Cannon Catchings on the high school front, officially a 5-star per 247 Sports. 17th in the country, which is fun. That is a 2024 commit, one that I know both of us are really high on. So that's still a while away, but definitely fun to peek ahead. Purdue has 1 game left. Senior night, Sunday, 12:30 Eastern time, I believe, at home against Illinois at 12:30 Eastern on Fox. Maybe we didn't get to it on our podcast. Any quick thoughts you have for previewing that game?
I don't really know what to expect. I mean, Jaden Epps, their point guard, freshman point guard, may be out for the game. He collapsed at practice recently. He was not playing tonight against Michigan. So I don't know. I mean, weird matchups, especially if you're going small with Newman and Gillis. I don't know. I would maybe anticipate another starting lineup change back to the original one, for the defensive purposes against the Illini's length. As long as Dane Danger's in there, I think Edey will be just fine. But when he's out, it'll be a struggle for him to guard guys like Coleman Hawkins, and even if they go Matthew Meyer at the 5 or whatever the case may be. So, it's going to be a tough game for Purdue matchup-wise, but Illinois is going to have a real tough time containing Zach Edey, and it being at Mackey gives me hope, although can't ever say much. I don't know. After Saturday, I can't really say that, so.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's going to be a tough matchup both ways. Epps was out. They go super big, and Purdue does not have big guards. That is one thing they do not have. But, they have nobody that can guard Edey. Going to be interesting. I think it'll be one that's more of a chess match. And you're going to have to see, Painter's going to have to get into some rotations, I bet. Same thing with Underwood. Hopefully Meyer's healthy and not drinking 5 monsters before the game and getting caffeine poisoning. I do not want to see that from him. Although I'm sure he's going to make a decent bag off NIL from it. I saw he came up to the post-game podium with 2 monsters. So, maybe one day of sickness, get some money, probably worth it for him. So
yeah, I think so.
I don't got anything else. I don't know if you do. If not, we can kind of give a shout out to our sponsors. I want to give a shout out to Shire Insurance for any of your insurance needs. Definitely go, give them a call, search them. You can call them at 219-663-7274. Also Fan Bags Cornhole. They're also just another one, any fan bags or any cornhole set. I call them bags where I'm from, but I know that's more of a region thing from my understanding. Everywhere else is cornhole. Definitely give them a shout out for, any needs that you have there, and they've been with us for a bit, so appreciate them. And then last one to Mad Mush, as I said before, best pizza, best cheese sticks. Use code BITS for 15% off there if you are ordering from Mad Mush. I think within the past couple of weeks they opened up a new one off of Sagamore, if I'm remembering correctly. So definitely go give those a shout out. Also wanted just to shout out our guys over at ISC. These are from the IU game, and I don't know if we want to see things from the IU game, but just in general, some really good photos. I'm sure they'll have some up for Minnesota. I just haven't seen, or not Minnesota, Wisconsin. I just haven't seen them yet, but always appreciate what they're doing over there for us at ISC_Purdue on Twitter. And last thing I just want to put, this is, came in today. Obviously Michigan lost, which helped, or clinched it, but I'll work on that, Craig. The full Midwestern goodbye. Purdue clinches outright championship. We're going to win by at least 2 games. A team that was projected 4th, 5th, somewhere in that area, and they win it all. So, and they win today, 63-61. A solid win, one to get back at least a little on track in the winning column. It would have been, dropping 3 of 5 sounds a lot better than dropping 4 or 5. And you hopefully get some momentum going into the Illinois game. So, you got anything else, Aidan?
No, good win. Get out of Madison with a W, and that's all that matters. We got it, and we will be back with our full team, not just the young bucks. The old heads will be back for Sunday when we're all at Mackey together for the final regular season post-game show of the season. Let's go beat the Illini.
Yeah, good win from Raphael Davis. Agree with that. And hopefully we get another one on Sunday at Illinois, or not at Illinois, home against Illinois. Give us, if you guys did appreciate the youngins, just us two, throwing it back kind of to our Twitter spaces, but much, much better production quality here. Make sure to give that a like. We appreciate that. Just kind of help with the algorithm. I appreciate all that Braggs does is kind of, we're all co-host or whatever, but Braggs is the one that does a little more of the hosting, where me, Aidan, and Craig are more just like feeding off of him. Appreciate what he does. Appreciate what Craig brings. Glad he was able to hop in. Hopefully he has a safe drive home. I'm doing my best Midwestern goodbye just for just for Craig right here, we appreciate the support from everybody. Redfield Davis in the comments. We appreciate that. Had him on after one of the games. Feels like forever ago at this point, but it was only probably a few weeks. But yeah, be back Sunday, post-game show. I think I did my best Bragg's Midwestern goodbye impersonation, so we'll call it here, and then
for sure. And Ray, you're always invited. You're always invited, Ray. No question about it.
Without a doubt, definitely. We can definitely get that to work. So appreciate everybody tuning in. We will catch you after the Sunday game against Illinois, senior night. I'm sure we'll be there for that. So appreciate everybody tuning in.